quarterly meeting, 10/23/23. I'd like to start off with saying the pledge. Would everyone please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Would someone like to lead us in prayer? Any volunteers?
No.
You can throw it at me.
Okay, Mr. Bell.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. God bless everybody in the room and help us make good decisions and listen real carefully, because there's a lot of stuff you can learn today from people like Raj. God bless him for coming out. And that's it. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen. Okay, Secretary, can you please have roll call?
Okay. Chair? Present. That's yours. Co-chair Rhodey?
I'm
Vice Chair?
Here.
Co-chair Morella?
He's not here.
It's not here.
Okay. Second Vice Chair Chrissy Clausen? Here. Clerk Jennifer Consolino? Here. Treasurer Rosie Reinders? Here. Okay. Committeeman? Precinct 1?
Here.
Precinct 2?
Present.
Precinct 3? Precinct 4?
Here.
Precinct 5? Precinct 6?
Here.
Precinct 7? Precinct 8? Precinct 9? Precinct 10? Here. Precinct 11? Present. Precinct 12? Precinct 13? Precinct 14? Precinct 15? Precinct 16? Precinct 17?
Present.
Precinct 18? Precinct 19? Here. Roll call is done.
Okay, that should make a quorum. All right, minutes from, okay, first of all, approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I just have, well, does anybody have any corrections? Number 6, Ruben Pismino is no longer the co-chair due to his resignation at the last committeeman meeting. So can we strike that off the agenda, please? Can I have a motion?
Motion to strike it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna, we do not have minutes from the last quarterly meeting. They are still pending. We have our first chairman's report by Steve Bell. Steve.
Thanks everybody for coming, and we have a lot of stuff coming up because the elections mean petitions, and in order to get all of our candidates on the ballot, we need everybody to sign petitions and get out and work to get signatures. So we have some candidates in the room. Any candidates that are here, you want to stand up so everybody can see you and announce yourself.
I'm Robert Enright. I'm running for Will County Coroner.
Yep.
Well, you're right.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm running for precinct committeeman in Plainfield 22.
Tim Ozinga, State Rep, House District 37, and Frankfurt PC 13.
Art?
Art Smigelski, candidate for Will County Circuit Judge, Countywide.
Andy?
Andy Smigelski, Homer, Precinct 17.
Mike Manomo, PC1, Homer, PC.
Mike Carlson, Homer, PC4.
Chrissy Clausen, PC 19. Hillary Mackey Kurzawa, running for Illinois State Senate in District 19, as well as precinct committee woman for Frankfurt Township 18. Thanks.
Jay Rhodey, current Vice Chair of the Homer Township Republican Organization, and I am running for Precinct 11.
And Steve Ballage, and I'm going to be a delegate for Trump. But Chrissy Clausen and Karen Rody. And we got them up there, and so if you got questions, call me, or Chrissy, or Karen, and we'll answer your questions. And our next event for that will be at Mugshots on November 2nd. We're going to do a petition signing from 5:30 to 8 o'clock, and he's going to supply some food, and then all the candidates from Will County will be invited. And then right after that, on November 5th, we're going to the alley. It's a bowling alley in Mokina, except it's real nice. It's not like a bowling alley, it's a banquet park. It's real nice. So we're going there from 5 to 8, and Trump's campaign is sponsoring the food, and we'll be getting signatures, and all the candidates again, they'll be welcome. And I'm planning something else right after that. I'm going to go see my daughter in Colorado, so I'll be going for 3 days, and when I come back, I'll plan some more. Because the only way we're going to win is to get out there and meet a lot of people. And the best way to meet people is have events where lots of people have a reason to come. And that's why we're getting all the candidates to come, because they need signatures, and people need to talk to the candidates. It's real important. So we also have a chili cook-off on the 5th. And the chili cook-off is not in competition with the Trump thing, because the chili cook-off is from 11 to 3, and then the Trump petition signing is from 5 to 8. So there's plenty of time to get back and forth. As the chili cook-off, we're looking for people that want to cook chili. So what do you get for cooking your chili? You get tickets to the hockey games.
If you win.
If you win. One just one person. Christina Clausen and her husband Mike donated the tickets. So good seats. And if you like hockey, and if you don't like hockey, you can sell to one of your guys you know that like hockey. So one way or the other, it's going to work out. But we're looking for people that want to cook. So if you want to cook, you can call anybody that's a committeeman and just let them know. And we'll be more than happy to take it, because if we don't have enough people, then I get to cook, and I'll win automatically, because I'm the best cook in the world.
I think so.
We have a scarecrow that we entered at Homer Glen, and it's if you go to surveymonkey.com, it's up on the table. Instead of reading it off, you won't remember it. But vote for the Homer Glen monkey, or not monkey, it's a rat. It's a rat. You know, what am I gonna say? All right. And then we got a blood drive that John Walters is organizing for us on Saturday, December 16th. And if you look on social media, you'll see all that. And I guess the most important thing is that we have to get out and talk to people. Now, if you go out and you knock doors, it depends on what neighborhood you live in. Some of the neighborhoods, everyone answers the door. Some of them, they don't like to answer the door. In my neighborhood, I'll knock on the door and they'll look at me and go, "What do you want?" And I tell them, with the ring, that ring camera thing, and they won't come. They go, "Come back later. I need signatures, come back." But that means they ain't gonna bother, right? But if you go to the grocery store, that's where I like to hang out, because they got food there. And when you walk up and down the aisles and you see people, you're not getting signatures, but you're just talking to them. And I spend an hour and a half, 2 hours at the Jewel, and I go to all these and walk up and down the aisles. I do a little exercise, I talk to lots of people. And that way you get a feel of how everybody is in the community, because there's all different kind of people going in the stores. It's not just one type. So you ask them how they feel about something. Or like I start out, they got a sale of the meat over there. And then they follow you to the meat. And you show them where the sale is, so you got to take your time to find out where the cheap stuff is. And then you talk to them, and then you find out, and then you get a good feeling of what people really want and where they're at in life right now. And from what I can see from my talking to lots and lots of people, it don't matter what political party they are, they're all really, really mad. And why are they mad? Because when they go to the store, they're paying 2 to 3 times what they used to pay for the same thing. So that tells me when Democrats, because I ask them what they are, and I tell them what I am, and then we laugh a little bit when we talk. But when people that are Democrats are mad, and Republicans are mad, and people that don't bother to vote, they're mad, it's all about the same thing. So what does that tell you? Yeah, we have to get our people elected and control the taxes. That's like really important. And so when you're talking to people, they're already hurting with property tax, right? County just raised it $18 million. Then the assessment came to your house, everybody's got anywhere from 8 to, I got one lady call me in the middle of the night crying, hers is 53% increase. And she said, how am I going to pay that? And then I told her, hey, you know what, we'll hook you up with the assessor and talk to him. It's not nice what people are going through. And it's our jobs as committeemen, as people in the party, to help everybody through this mess and explain to them that we're not going to give up on it. I think that's the biggest key that people want to know, that the Republican Party and Homer will stand with the people. Because if we can't stand with the people, why do they need us? Right? So we all got to do that. And so we got veterans in the room, and God bless you guys. Thank you for all the stuff you did and all the stuff you will do. You know, it's like you guys are like the core of everything. Without you guys, we wouldn't even be standing here. And you know, then we got Tim Ozinga, he runs the Central Committee. You know, and it's a lot of work. You know what he gets paid for it? Nothing. Zero. You know what he gets out of it? A bunch of people bitching at him all the time. Right? You know, because so, you know what, there's a lot of people that put a lot of effort and time to try to fix where we live. That's our motto here, fix where we live. And that's what we really, really want to do. And we want to go out of our way. Everyone in this room needs to remember that, to go out of their way to help everybody. Because we're in a bad time where people are nervous, they're scared, and they're broke. So I think I said enough. But God bless you guys, and thanks for coming out.
All right, thank you, Steve. Okay, so it's the vice chair report. So that's me. A couple of things Steve touched on, and you know, we at the HTRO, it's great to have a fundraiser, it's great to enter a contest, but Steve touched on this a little bit. And the holidays are going to rush in before you know it. I'm told that our country and even our state, they really need blood donors. John Walters, who is overseeing, I think, precinct 15 currently right now, he was appointed, and he doesn't live in precinct 15, so he won't be running, but he's such an active member in the Homer Township Republican organization. He set us up for a Homer Township Republican Organization event, blood drive. It's going to be hosted at 14320 South Golden Oak Drive in Homer Glen. That's actually where the HTRO office is. Now, you may not be able to give blood, but I'm sure you know somebody or someone in the family. Please, we're going to be sending emails out about this. If you're on our email list, please help spread the word, because, you know, everyone says, you know, it's the season of giving. And I said, what do you want, my blood? Yeah. That's what they want. So if you can please help spread the word with that. A couple of other pamphlets out back there. Everyone should have a copy of our agenda for tonight. Steve talked about the chili cook-off. Also talked about HTRO decided to enter a scarecrow in the village of Homer Glen, and we had kids at our house, and we set it up. It was a blast. I've never really built a scarecrow like this before, but the kids had a blast. So if you go online at the village, you're going to see all of the entries. Of course, I want you to vote for ours, but you know, get involved and vote. Okay. with that being said, there's one thing I want to bring up, and a lot of stuff that's going on in the country. Some stuff just, you know, it's bridging. I think it's politically correct, but I think it's just craziness. And about 2 months ago, Tim Ozinga had an event for Central Committee. And Tim hosted this event. Tim is the Will County GOP chair. And he had Riley Gaines there. Now, a father of 3 daughters. Now, I don't know if everybody knows Riley Gaines, her story and what she went through in the Olympics. And how a man, a fully grown man, beat her out of her life's dream. You know the story, but to hear this young lady speak, she spoke for what, Tim, about what, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
The presentation from this young lady was so powerful. I urge you to sit down with your daughters, with your kids, with your family, watch this presentation. I've been told that speech, Tim, is at illinoisfamily.org. illinoisfamily.org. You can hear the speech from that night. Talk about motivating. I got a daughter in college overseas right now, but when we get back, that's going to be one of the first family functions that we have in our household. I urge you guys, because it's not going to just end with Riley Gaines. Women have fought so hard over the years to have their voice heard. Women's sports, male sports. My daughter is a collegiate athlete through North Central, women's bowling. I can only imagine what it would do to these women if they had to go up against a biological male. So please, if you get the opportunity of something to watch for your family, it's worth every minute. With that, I'm going to move on to the treasurer's report. Rose Reinders?
Yes, just to make everybody aware, we had our golf outing on October 15th, and we actually raised $2,650. To date, we have a balance in our account of $4,383.87, which will be dwindling because I just gave him a check for the rent for the months of November and December. And that's my report.
Okay. Secretary's report, Jen Consolino.
No report, but I do want to say thank you very kindly to Raj for coming out and speaking tonight, and to our awesome candidates, State Rep Ozinga, Hillary, Rob. Thank you guys. We wish you luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have.
Andy.
Okay, so today we have Rob Enright with us. Rob is a candidate for Will County Coroner. Rob, come on up and give us a few words.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Robert Enright. I'm running for Will County Coroner. I know most of you in here. Just a little bit about me. I'm a husband, a father of 3 children. A funeral director in Balmer for over 2 decades, about 22 years. So I've cared for thousands of families over that 22 years. Coroner's office is not really that exciting office that everybody wants to get excited about, but I do feel it's important that the office needs a lot of attention. It's poorly managed, and it doesn't have any dignity or empathy or compassion for the people that have to go through the coroner's office. Some of the things that I'm focusing on in this campaign, number one is the integrity of the office. There's a few things that need to be worked out as far as the efficiencies, processes, how they interact with other funeral homes, because you have to get a permit to cremate through the coroner's office in order to cremate somebody in Will County. So the integrity of the office is very important. There's a few of the deputy coroners that need to be summarily dismissed. They just have some ethical issues and kind of a little bit too brown-nosy, I guess. Another thing I want to bring to the office is more dignity. There's a lot of undignified ways for people to die. And I think the coroner's office is one governmental agency that does not need to be run like a bureaucracy. I think it needs that special touch. That person that's laying there in the morgue at the coroner's office is not just a body and a case number. That's somebody's mother or father or child there. That's Mr. Anderson or Mrs. Smith. And they deserve to be treated that way, not just schlepping body bags and a number back and forth. It's not right. And then compassion for the families that have to deal with the aftermath of having to deal with the coroner's office. I don't think the current coroner has any idea what happens after a family has to go through the process of dealing with the coroner's office and what comes after that. There's a lot of grief support that's out there that's free, that's available to families, and the coroner's office has some grief support, but they don't really offer it very much. A lot of things, as well as the coroner's office doesn't have a flagpole out front of this brand new $10 million building, and they don't have a flagpole. And the current coroner's reason is, well, the sheriff's office right over here has one, we don't need one. Well, you're a separate law enforcement governmental agency. You need to have your own freaking flagpole. That sounds like something a communist would say. So, but other than that, that's basically the main points of me running for the coroner's office, to make things a little easier on the families, because like I said, I've cared for thousands of families, and I know what comes after they have this tragic loss, because if you're going through the coroner's office, it's probably a tragic loss. So if you have any questions about the coroner's office, or the funeral industry in general, please reach out to me. I have some cards. Feel free to reach out, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Before I move on to our next guest, Tim, is there anything you want to say? You're Will County Chair. Do you have any words for us tonight? You want to come up here and speak, or are you good?
Putting you on the spot.
Are you good? Sorry,
I'm good. I'm not on the agenda.
You're good? Okay. Just letting you know. Okay. So, our next guest is a graduate of the University of New York at Albany. He has a Bachelor of Science in Accounting, Certified Public Accounting in New York and Illinois, Seamanship, Leadership, up to non-commissioned officer, Surface Warfare, Ship Operations, Basic Firefighting, and Dispersing Clerk, Finance, Specialty Education, U.S. Navy. Educated in advanced accounting topics including internal audit, accounting instructor for new staff accountants. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Raj Pillai today. Come on up, Raj. He's here to talk about.
First of all, thank you everybody for having me, especially the Homer Township Republican Organization, Steve, Jay, and everyone else that's here. I want to start off by just mentioning, I think we mentioned that there's people that are going through a lot of different types of issues. It doesn't matter who they are, what party they're with, Democrats and Republicans. And we as the organization that I'm a part of, and I'm going to mention, it's apolitical. We've got Democrats and Republicans. But that being said, taking a step back as to where we had support from, one of the people in here, Tim Ozinga, you've supported this organization, and even before I was in this position in the organization, and I'm a volunteer, but he supported us financially and in other ways from the very beginning, even before I got into this position. And I'll talk about that. So, and when you go up to, we had an event recently called Vet Fest. It was basically to raise awareness for suicide prevention initiatives in veterans. And actually, it's actually the second leading cause of death for veterans under the age of 45. So it's a pretty serious problem, but we actually held a fundraiser for raising awareness of initiatives that prevent that from happening. And Tim was a big part of that, and so were many Republicans. So I do want to call that out. If you looked at our sponsor list, it was Young Republicans this, Republican that, and then a bunch of different names. So I want to thank everybody for that, number one. So I am an immigrant. I came to this country legally, by the way, and eventually joined the United States Navy because I wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than even me. So it changed my life completely. I didn't even know how to talk English at the time. After I moved here, 6 years later, I joined the Navy. I had a great 4 years of active duty. Then I went into the reserves and I got called up for Iraqi freedom. And that was also a good experience. I eventually got out. I think Jay mentioned some of my history, but got here to the, some of the history I'm not going to mention, but I got into this organization called the Veterans Assistance Commission. Does anybody here, I know there's some veterans in here, do you guys know what a Veteran Service Officer is? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
you might have spoken to some. So the Veterans Assistance Commission is a county government body. We have slightly over $1 million budget, and it's there to serve veterans. It's your money, it's the taxpayers' money that comes through Will County. People don't know about this department, but it's a whole separate department that has its own officials that report to the taxpayers. One of the reasons people don't know about it, it's never on the ballot, it's not elected. So even though I'm not on the ballot, I'm considered a public officer, and I can't, for example, run for another position. Actually, I can run, but I can't be in another local position, just like other elected officials that are countywide. Same thing with all my commission members. They're actually selected from legions and BFWs across the county. They select a commission member. Among those commission members, they elect a president, and that's my title right now. I'm the chairman of the board, and I run the meetings, and I maintain the order of the commission and supervise the superintendent, who is the executive of the Veterans Assistance Commission. So our VAC has veteran service officers that help people from everything from medical issues, education, housing, disability compensation, and things like that. So what happens a lot of times is veterans want and need help, but they call the VA. A lot of times the VA can't help them because of a myriad of issues. But the county has our organization, and we're available to them for free in order to help them out. So our veteran service officers are trained and accredited by the VA in order to understand what all the benefits are that people are entitled to. So a person that's maybe affected by Agent Orange in Vietnam can go over and get help for free at the VAC. So what happens is our veteran service officers will sit down with them and they'll go through the entire issue. A lot of people will actually submit a claim to the VA, it gets rejected because they don't have all the information. And sometimes what happens is they go to our VAC, sit down with the VSO, they figure out exactly how to present the issue to the VA, and then they actually get compensated. So there's good and bad VSOs, and what has happened in this past year, we've sort of transformed the organization, and a lot of people know this, but some people may not. There was a big fraud that happened. The prior superintendent, the person that's in the superintendent position before the person that's there right now, actually gave away $500,000 to a friend of hers, and it was for marketing. It was a $500,000 marketing contract that she signed off on without the commission's approval. And the money went away. Nobody knows what it was used for, and we've been tracking it down. There's an option that we have right now to sue this person, and we're going through that. But the culprit actually ended up going to work for the city of Joliet. And you guys might know what happened with that recently. But anyway, my point is that we had a huge issue where this person did this, and we realized the entire board was screwed up. And I went to every single meeting, and I had to prepare for the meeting, I had to make sure I knew the law, and I spoke, I became a commission member at that time, and these people still would not listen. They wouldn't understand what's actually going on. A lot of them were older veterans that, they wanted to do the right thing, but they didn't know what the right thing was because nobody was there to explain it to them. Nobody would come to these meetings. This is a government body, and for a government meeting, we run it just like any other township, any county body, but people just didn't know that it was public, so they wouldn't come. And they were able to get away with a lot of this stuff that happened. So after I just kept going, and a lot of days I was tired, I didn't want to go, but eventually I realized these people are not going to understand, and what I did was I sued them, but instead of suing them individually at their houses, I sued them in a public meeting. And I gave them a lawsuit, actually the process server did, but I was right there. But I had to do that to get these people out. And when they were out, now they're gone, we installed new commission members, and I ran for president. And since then, the VAC is cleaned up all the way down from the carpets to the walls. We replaced all the chairs in the front. We got coffee in the front now, fish tank. Now the TV, I think, plays animal videos and stuff. It's pretty nonpartisan. Can't call that Republican or Democrat. Anyway, so that's what we've done. We've also hired a bunch of newer veteran service officers. So our goal is to provide the best customer service possible. A lot of people from Cook County come over to us, veterans, but we've got to sort of put them on the back of the line because we've got to prioritize Will County veterans. But that's because they see us as an organization that is working to make sure that we improve, and we have improved before. So recently, one of the biggest events we had, I think I mentioned this before, was Vet Fest. We have a not-for-profit called Will for Vets, and we're using that, we're actually working with that not-for-profit to, hold events like that. There was a great attendance. I think everybody came. There's a different group I want you guys to know about is Joliet Police Department Battle Buddies. These are 27 veteran police officers that when the veterans call in and they're in crisis, they might want to commit suicide, the call actually goes to these police officers that are veterans so they can connect a little bit better with the veteran that is going through whatever they're going through. So it was to benefit them, and there's some canine dogs with a group called Canines for Veterans, and that was the event that I mentioned that Mr. Rosinga was a big sponsor for. So events like that we're continuing to do. We offer not only claim services, but we have a pantry. So we have this pantry that's sitting there, but when you go in, what you see is what's in that bowl sometimes, Snickers and everything else. Now think about it, these older veterans they've got diabetes and stuff like that. So we don't always get the freshest food. So what we're trying to do right now is get a freezer and a fridge to store meat, vegetables, things like that, and get veterans some fresh stuff also. We also give financial assistance. The county's allowed to provide certain financial assistance to veterans that are just needy. And people don't know about these benefits. But if you walk over to our offices at 400 Glenwood Avenue, and I'll give you cards if anybody needs cards. All I'm asking here is for people to spread the word. The services are free. It's provided by the government, and I could say it's one government body in the county that's now being run well. So I have an eye on it, and if something happens, it's going to be my blood. And I can't probably run for anything in the future if that does happen. So that's a little bit. I want to tell you guys a little bit about some stuff that's coming up soon. So Will for Vets is organizing a event. There's 50 recruits from Great Lakes. The Navy boot camp is in Great Lakes. That's where the Naval Training Station is. 50 of them, we're going to give them a Thanksgiving dinner. Our bus is going to pick them up. They're going to go to a local VFW, and we're going to feed them. We're going to buy some phones because they're not allowed to take phones off the base. We're going to buy these burner phones and have them call their families, give them a nice meal, run them back to the base. So we're collecting donations for that. If you guys are interested, you can donate to donation@willforvets.org. It's will4vets.org. So that's a little bit of an overview. There's been a lot of recent legislation out there. I'm not going to get into that because that's a VSO thing, and they're going to know a little bit more about it. But I do know a lot of the basic overall information as to what has went on in legislation. So I do want to. I think one of Jay's requests was open it out for questions. So if you guys want to ask anything about the VAC, what happened last year, what we do, how we provide the benefits, you guys can go ahead, and I'm happy to answer them. Yes, ma'am.
We have a recent American Legion post that opened over in Marion Village. It's a senior committee. I wanted to see if we could get anything to take over there. Do you have any pamphlets or anything?
I can get them to you.
People are.
Yeah, I can get them to you. I don't have them with me, but I can get them to you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So how many veterans across the county do you actively serve currently?
So there's about 30,000 plus veterans in the county. And that's a good question because those are the veterans that we represent. So, just like the taxpayers are represented, these 30,000 veterans are represented by the Commission. And even though we report to the taxpayers, we're also responsible to represent those veterans. So, for example, just recently there was a township issue that happened where I think they were going to purchase a building. And we thought that there was going to be an issue that was going to affect veterans, because when you're bringing in migrants, that may displace, and I don't want to get into the politics of that, but when it displaces veterans, I have a problem. So I ended up sort of lobbying, not only going to the township meeting, but just kind of making a lot of noise about it. That ended up getting noticed also in the veteran community. You know, there were interesting reactions on either side of it. But that's also one of my responsibilities and the commission's responsibility. Something like that happens where veterans can get displaced in a large scale like that. We have to go out there as a commission and represent the veterans and say, hey, the veterans do think this is wrong. And that was the whole purpose of that.
When did you reorganize the office?
The office was reorganized sometime at the end of last year, but the elections happened in March, so that's when we also got cleaned up.
The reason why I'm asking is I've been going to that office for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And it was a pain in the neck.
Yeah, I want you to go there now, and I want you to call me.
I've got a friend who's a vet.
Okay.
So I want to contact him and encourage him to go.
Yeah, I want him to go out there, and I want to get your feedback. I'll give you a card. If something happens, I want to know about it.
All right, good.
Yes, sir.
I filed a claim back in March at your office.
Okay.
And when I get on the GovID to try to see what's going on, I got a couple of questions. Do I have to walk in back into your office to get those answered, or can I talk to somebody over the phone?
You can either talk to somebody on the phone, or you can email them. I'll give you my email address, and if you can tell me which veteran service officer you spoke to,
Well, the one that I spoke to was actually transferred to, there's an office in Orland, just east of LaGrange Road.
Okay.
Is that part of the same system? I mean, if I went there...
It might be a little bit different, because there's state offices, county offices, which we are, and then there's also federal. But if you do give me your information, I can track it down.
Because I have some, when I look at my claim, there's some things that I can't figure out, and it's like pulling teeth to get an answer.
Gotcha. It may not have been that same office or the same person, but I'll give you the information, and why don't you give them a call and see how they can tell you what's going on.
Can I tell you after the meeting what I found?
Sure. I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, I wouldn't be able to respond to it in an educational way.
Well, that's fine.
As a veteran service officer,
Okay.
but I will give you some information as to how we can track it down.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Yes, sir.
It's a follow-up to a question that he just asked. Do you have a counterpart in every county?
We do. It depends on the population of the county. Will County is huge. I think we've got about 700,000 people. But once it reaches a certain population, the county's allowed to set up a Veterans Assistance Commission. I mean, you have to bring it all together. But most counties that are populated well will have one, or there will be a Veteran Service, a VAC that serves maybe 3 different counties. Just to bring it all together.
Sure,
you don't need as much service in those areas.
Sure.
But there is this is a state law that we're governed by, and how we're actually put in place to represent the taxpayers. And that law governs how the VACs are all set up.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are you actually mentor veterans to get their VA benefits? Is that what the primary service is, or is it just?
That's right. So I'll
veterans if
explain
they're
that.
in hard times or whatever?
Yeah, so I'll explain the process a little bit. So if a veteran is entitled to the benefits themselves, I mean, they obviously set up an appointment, speak to one of our veteran service officers, but if they're entitled to it, the veteran service officer takes it from beginning to end, meaning that the veteran has to just sit there and explain and provide documents, and our veteran service officers fill out the claims and submit them.
Right. Does that income still affect your veterans benefits?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I keep on applying and they say my income is too high. I'm above the,
Yeah, there might be.
I just want the card for the prescriptions.
So the indices might change, the index that they use every year might change, so that'll be something we'll have to track down for you. But if you give us a call over there and talk to one of the people, we'll be able to figure it out.
there's 8 different categories for the veterans, and depending on what your category is, it should make a difference to you. It should make a difference. I'm in category 3.
Okay.
I've got a Purple Heart and 50%, but again, it should not make a difference. Again, it depends on what you're going for and what the VA finds
About
out.
every 3 years I go in,
Yeah.
and they say my income is too high, so I don't get.
Yeah, we'll be able to explain that for you. I know there's criteria. I don't know the exact criteria, but something we'll have to dig into.
Brad, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna make a comment about the level. It depends on what level they put you in, and you can still get the benefits, there's just gonna be a copay.
Right, yeah.
Because I went to the state guy over here in the township, he says, you're not eligible. Here's my card.
Oh, that's interesting.
Were you in Vietnam, no? Because
No.
if you're in Vietnam,
No.
you get it.
That was not deployed. It just puts me in a different level.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Raj, I have a question. Is there anything new coming up or anything you foresee that's going to change? Or maybe something that's going to be added through your office or VA coming up in 2024? And maybe they should keep their eyes open for that you're aware of?
Yeah, so there is something that I do want to mention. I'm glad you brought up the question because I didn't mention it throughout what I said before. So a lot of veterans are affected by mental health issues. It goes from PTSD at the worst levels to, even issues that are not so egregious, probably more mild. But they can get mental health services through the VA, even the VAC, but the people that are caring for them cannot get help because, even though they struggle quite a bit. So we actually voted in our VAC, we're the first ones to do it in the state. Just a couple meetings ago, we voted in a new position for mental health coordinator that we didn't have to actually we didn't ask the taxpayers for more money for that, by the way. I don't think we'll have to. We just remanaged the budget. It's funny when you look at the budget, how many things you can slash because we don't use it anymore.
Fiscal responsibility, right?
Yeah, very basic. It's pretty third-rate stuff, but
We'll lose our heresy in Illinois.
So anyway, we're adding this position. We're going to put that out fairly soon. And this position is going to not only help veterans, but it's going to provide mental health support to spouses and other caregivers that are qualified to take care of the veterans as well. So that's something to look out for. There's other legislation out there too at the federal level and the state level. There's also reimbursement. If you actually try to purchase, I think, a dog from a shelter, there's certain reimbursements for that too. That legislation just came out. It's a state level legislation. So there's always a myriad of things that we can go over, but the legislation that's out there that came out in 22 to 23, I would say there's probably 50 to 75 pieces of different legislation at the federal and state level that affect veterans that our BSOs know about that are being implemented. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Can I take 2 minutes of your time after the meeting? I do have a question. My son
Sure.
he served in the Air Force, then he came out and he does some military contracts with Lockheed, so he's deployed right now. It's his 3rd time over. He's coming back home and he has an appointment with the VA and he may miss it because they extended his stay and he doesn't have internet to figure out how to fix it. I don't know how to help him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Does anybody else have any more questions for Raj?
I just have a comment. As a wife of a vet, thank you for what you're doing. And
Thank you for your support.
yeah. The paperwork is overwhelming sometimes. And I'm a CPA, so paperwork's kind of my jam.
Yeah, we're in the...
Yeah, I know. You're talking, when you were being introduced, I thought the whole thing, and I'm just like, it's so hard. Why is it so hard?
Yeah, they make it extremely difficult. But the other thing I wanted to mention, there's I don't know how many of you guys know about claim sharks out there. I've been learning more and more about, how veterans benefits are affected. So since I've been, researching a lot of VA stuff and veteran stuff, on my Facebook I get all these Claim Shark ads coming up about how these guys can help veterans, get the most money for these claims, and they're private companies that are basically telling veterans that I'm going to get you $10,000, but you're going to have to give me 30%. That's not necessary because, again, we have free services through the VAC in every county, just like ours, that they can go to in order to get those services. And then they tell me that, oh, well, they don't have lawyers. But we have veteran service officers that are certified to represent veterans at the Board of Appeals for the VA. They're qualified to do that as well. So there's a lot of things that we do, our veteran service officers do, that veterans do not have to go to the Claim Sharks for. But what happens is, oftentimes people don't know where to go to. They call the VA, you can't get a VA person to help you. So that's why these VACs exist, and that's why I encourage people to spread the word about the VAC so they know that there's dedicated veteran service officers out there that'll help you. And if they don't, they'll hear from me.
I've got a question on, it's not about the VA, about item number 7, memorial. Was that mentioned at all? The Vietnam Memorial? Or I should say the Veterans Memorial?
You know what, after Raj has done it, I'll bring it up. Okay. I'm sorry, I skipped over that.
All right,
Yes,
are
sir.
you associated at all with Mantino Veterans Facility there? That's just straight Illinois though, right?
Mantino's in Will County, I think, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I think they're part of that.
No,
That's KP.
it's Kankakee. Yeah,
Oh, that's
unfortunately, I
Kankakee.
go there quite a bit.
That's part of the Kankakee VAC, but, they're part of that now.
It's Illinois Veterans.
Yeah, Mike's father-in-law right there. It's a great facility.
It is a good facility. Very respectful there.
Any other questions? Seems like, yes, sir.
I just wanted to shake your hand.
Oh,
Thank you
yeah.
for everything.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So, yep, it is on the agenda, and I skipped over it. My apologies, it was under my vice chair report. In the beginning of summertime, the current 19 Republican committeemen, precinct captains at the HTRO voted on hands in the ground themselves building a veterans memorial on county property. Now this is a different memorial than what the village has, what the village is trying to get passed. It's going back and forth for quite some time. So what we did, the committeemen and the HTRO, we decided to donate our time, our own hands, backs, shovels in the ground to build a memorial. And it's something that we have a rendition out there, but Steve Ballish, who was also the supervisor of the township, they liked the idea when we presented it to them. I think it was in the July meeting.
Yeah, in July.
In July. The only thing is they have to wait, they still have to get a permit from the village. This would be a separate veterans memorial than what the village is doing. This would be done with no taxpayer dollars. It would be your current HTRO committeeman doing it. And I believe Mr. Rosinga said he was going to help us out if we get to move forward with that, with the concrete. Thank you, Ted. With that being said, Raj, I do have one more question, and I know that your position and the VAC is not partisan. But would there be anything against us having a tab on our Homer Township Republican site, and anything you wanted us to post, we could put on that site? Whatever you guys wanted out there, to just try and distribute it and help you guys out.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we would be willing to do that. We'll take a vote, but I'm sure we can get that going.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is we want to raise awareness, whether Republicans raise awareness or, it could be anybody, it doesn't really matter. We want to let people know what
anything you want us to put out, we'll get the word out, we'll send emails. We will Anything you want, we will send our membership.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Raj. That's it for tonight, unless anybody has any questions for me, which I'm sure you don't. So.
You know what, Jay, I'd like to just give an update on the Veterans Memorial for Heritage Park. On Wednesday, October 25th, we are going to be holding, the Parks Committee and Recreation Committee are going to be holding a workshop at the Village Board meeting, which is at 6:30 on Wednesday. And in that workshop, we are going to talk about some changes that we made to the Veterans Memorial and to some of the areas in the park that we're going to be updating as well. So we're hoping, we've got some input from Lou Zemke and Mike McConnell. They gave us some ideas that they thought would work. They liked our original plan, but they just wanted us to tweak it a little bit. So we did some changes, and we're hoping that when we go before the board on Wednesday, that we're going to get a vote to move forward, to put it back out for bid, and to get this thing started. So that's just an update on where we are with that. Okay?
What time is that?
That is October 25th is Wednesday coming up, at 6:30, the board meeting is.
Where's the was that, Rose?
It's the Village Hall. Yes.
Are you getting a tank?
I get it.
Looking for a tank.
Yeah, we're looking for something.
I want a helicopter.
Actually, we are looking for a piece of the, I know, well, in the event that we get a permit to do the one on township property, we actually have a spot picked out. I don't want to release it just yet, but if we do get the permit to develop this, we'll probably do it early spring. And we are looking for a piece of decommissioned military equipment. If anybody has any leads on it, please get in touch with either me, Steve, shake me down, throw something at me, just let me know about it. But we will be looking for something. So with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you very much. And tonight's meeting is being recorded, and if you want to have any friends or family that couldn't be here, especially to see Raj speak, Grant, do you have an address for that to give these people?
It'll be on, I'll send it to the Homer Township Republican.
Okay, I'll email it out. It'll be on our